Volunteers, the unsung heroes of our community, the fabric of society that so many groups and organisations rely on in order to function and adhere to their legal and professional requirements. Charities, school governing boards, PTA groups, organisations, community groups, youth groups, sports clubs that need coaches, we are all volunteers. And whatever it is that you're thinking about volunteering for, whether you're thinking, can I do this? Am I good enough? Am I going to be able to do a good job? I've got some stuff that's going to help you today in this video, because I feel like it's really important to understand what you're about to get yourself into. And if I'd have known some of these things before I started my volunteering journey, then it probably would have made things a little bit easier for me. I hope you like it. Here are 5 things to consider before you say yes to volunteering. The first thing is time. You are giving your time, and you need to have the time to give. Now, you can't always attend every meeting. You can't always go and do the things that you can do like when it's required. Sometimes you have to share it amongst the group. But when it's your turn, you've got to show up, and you've got to be able to deliver on your promises. And if you can no longer deliver on your time promises at any point, you've got to be transparent enough to share it with your colleagues in order to overcome the problem together. Because you're all there for a reason, and you owe it to that cause, whether it's a charity, a school, or a board, or whatever it is, to serve that purpose. And if you can no longer do it, that's okay, because everything changes, but that's the point in which you need to communicate so that everybody understands, and you can work together to make it better, rather than any resentment or confusion that can fester if you leave it too long. Number 2. You will find yourself in new dynamics and new relations with people that you maybe have not known before, maybe never met before, but also people that you do know that you might get on well with. But now that you're in a board situation, now that you're in this volunteering situation where you're responsible for making decisions, you might find that your relationship does change, because you might clash a little bit. And actually, I think that's quite a good thing, as long as you're aware of it being a normal thing. Don't shy away from challenging each other, particularly when you do know somebody well. Challenge them to come up with what is the best answer for the bigger picture, because that's what we're there to do. Challenge, ask questions, and ensure that we can bring projects forwards and make them successful. So understand that your relations will change. You will have to adapt the way that you behave. If you are used to being a certain person at work, you might have to apply a certain range of characteristics that you don't normally use in the new environment that you're in. 3, the alignment of the why. There should always be a governing why, a big ideal, something that the entire organization represents as its purpose. That purpose is bigger than you or I or anybody that's involved. That purpose withstands legacy. That why, although may change over the years, is the entire reason for this board, for this organization, for this group to exist. Now that should always be known, and it can be known through a value statement, a mission statement, or in any kind of overall like message that you put out there. But here's the thing about the alignment of the why. Inside that group of people, you will have different reasons why you're a part of that group. Each member of the board, each member of the organization will have their own motivations, their own reasons why. And that should be talked about. Some people might be in it as a bit of a stepping stone to learn to get on something else. Some people might be in it because they eventually want to become the chairperson. Some people might be in it because they've got a couple of years, the kids are a bit older, but they don't want to be doing it forever. And some people might be in it because they want to do something for the rest of their lives, and this is what they want to do right now with their time and energy that they dedicate to volunteering. Knowing everybody's why makes it so much easier to manage, mitigate, and plan for the future, as well as keeping a really open and transparent channel if anyone is ever needing to change. There is nothing worse than thinking that you have to do something because if you stop doing it, you're going to let everyone down. If the why isn't aligned, it can be a massive problem, and it can cause problems and holes, and things can get missed, and people can be let down, and ultimately the performance of the board or the group will dramatically reduce. So I like to think of it as everyone has their own reasons why, and as long as there is alignment with each other and the greater good of the organization and the organization's group reason why, then you're all going to be moving in the right direction at a very powerful rate. It's about communication, it's about having the foresight to speak about these reasons why. What's your strongest reason for being a part of this group right now in your life? That is a great place to start. Number 4, you're about to join in, you're about to become a volunteer, but know your exit strategy. Are you going to stay for the term? Are there minimum terms? In school, there's usually 4 years as a minimum term. You can do 2, then you're required or you're recommended to move on to a different school. That's what I did at 8 years. So what's your exit? What are your parameters in which you want to leave? Or what would have to change in your life to change your commitments? Knowing those things already make it a lot easier for you to plan for the future. I had a period where I had when we had our first child, it was really difficult for me to adhere to my volunteering commitments. And in hindsight, I probably should have pre-communicated that a little bit better to say that, listen, I'm gonna have to take a bit of a back seat for a couple of years. I still wanna be involved, but I'm not gonna be able to get to every meeting, rather than saying, yeah, I'll be there, and then struggling to get there. So that communication is key, knowing your exit and knowing that it's okay to communicate if you feel different about your contribution to the group. And finally, expectations. At the end of the day, you are a volunteer. You are giving your time, but you need to be honest about your performance. If you're giving your time and you are able to stick to your promises, you're able to pull in, be a great team member, then that's great. Understand that you won't know everything, and that's okay. Nobody knows everything. We're volunteers at the end of the day. We learn on the job and we do our absolute best to be a great custodian of that position. Now, if that's ever too much, that's when you communicate, you get out, somebody else can come in and have a go, but you make sure you leave it in a better place than which you found it. And that's something that I think can not just work in a volunteering capacity, but in life itself. It's about having the understanding that there is a big picture, there is an infinite purpose and an infinite goal of an organization, and then there are your finite targets and goals that you set within your time and energy in what you can do, and you do your best to achieve those. But you are a volunteer at the end of the day. So do it with a smile, do your absolute best, and remember, you're probably part of a team, so ask for help when you need it. So I hope that this has been useful for you, and whatever you go and choose to do, give it everything you got. You know, we're only here once, so you get to be a part of something, and like I said, be a custodian for the position that you're about to get in. Leave it in a better place to which you found it. See you soon.